first of all, I was really pleased with the way our guys, came out and played in this game today. We wanted to develop habits in this game that would help us in the future, and I was very pleased with that. Short week, different kind of preparation, but the intensity and toughness and the effort and the way we played in the game was the way we wanted to play, and tried to play to a standard, and I was really pleased, with that. A lot of guys got to play out there. We played as many guys as we possibly could. Some guys that we have at least started to try to redshirt to this point. We didn't play in the game because they have the potential to be redshirted this year, so I wish there was some way you could play guys like that in games like this and still not have them lose their year, but it isn't that way, so there's nothing really we can do about it. But I thought our players showed a little maturity in the way they handled this short week, and I was pleased with the support that our fans gave us in coming out, and it was exciting to be able to get so many players to play. Their players really played hard, and Coach Curry's done a really good job there, and we wish them the best in the future as well, because their guys really played hard, and it was a great opportunity for them.
Sorry, the first question's about next week, but you talked about the short week preparation. You got an extra day to get ready for the next game. What is your plan practice-wise, and how do you use that extra day? How can that help?
Well, I don't think we're going to use an extra day to practice. I think that we'll have pretty normal practice week. We'll just move it up a day to Sunday. We'll give the players. We got to give the players a day off for this week, which is tomorrow, and then we'll do some meetings and things like that on Saturday. But we just have to practice on Sunday.
What's the prognosis for Trent Richardson and Barrett Jones?
Well, I think Trent Richardson's probably good. I think he probably could have played today. He's made progress in practice. Barrett Jones, we're trying to keep in a boot, hopefully to enhance the healing process, and we think he'll be able to play, but probably we'll have a better idea of that come Sunday, just to see what kind of progress that he's making. But the initial prognosis is that he would be able to come back this week and play. I don't think there's any doubt about Trent unless he has a setback some kind of way in practice.
Coach, you talked even last week about this team needing to develop an identity and how the play in the Mississippi State game went a long way towards developing that identity. I thought there were a lot of examples tonight of unselfish play, including some of the receivers throwing blocks on multiple plays. Would you consider unselfishness a major attribute in the identity of this football team?
Well, I don't think this team has ever been selfish. I've never, thought that was at all an issue. I've always been pleased with the way our receivers block, our offensive linemen hustle down the field, try to protect our skill. The defensive players, have all gotten along well, and we have not had a lot of selfish decisions made. I think the inconsistency comes from, maturity comes from knowledge and experience, and maybe there have been times this year when we didn't have enough knowledge and experience to play with the maturity that we needed to overcome some tough circumstances playing on the road. And I think that in the last couple of games we've shown a little more maturity in terms of the way we prepare, the way we practice, and the things we do, and I think we've played a little better because of it.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about Brandon Gibson's play in the first half with the touchdown he scored and then recovering a fumble on the next kickoff. And secondly, if you could comment on just overall how you thought the reserves played in the second half.
I thought they did a really good job. It was an opportunity to play a lot of players. We got some guys that got to play tonight that probably would have never had an opportunity to play, and that was great, for them. But I was pleased. The experience is good for, the second team guys got to play at least a quarter and a half, and especially on offense. We got to play a lot of guys on defense. That experience is really important, even though they made some mistakes out there. I think that sometimes that's how you learn. Brandon Gibson has done a really good job on special teams for us all year long. and it was good to see him to get some opportunities, at receiver, and did a really good job in the game. But he's done a great job all year on special teams.
Coach, back here. Can you talk a little bit about how Anthony Steen played tonight, and if Barrett isn't able to go next week, how comfortable you are with him there at that guard spot?
Well, Anthony played well last week for us. It's hard to tell how the offensive linemen play without watching the film, but I didn't think there was any glaring things that he didn't do correctly in the game, and I'm sure these 2 games of experience will help him if he needs to play, next week against Auburn. But, we're hopeful that Barrett will be back, but we're confident that Anthony can do the job if he needs to play.
I was going to ask you about some of the mistakes in the first half, how concerned you are about like the 55-yard pass play, the kickoff return for a touchdown, and the delay of game.
Well, I guess if there was 2 things that you would say was negative about the game, those would be the 2. And out of however many plays are in the game between offense, defense, and special teams, I don't know if it's possible to play a perfect game, but we didn't do a good job in the kickoff coverage. The safeties were out of position and missed the tackle, so that was not a good thing. And I guess it's hard to. That's something that we've worked really hard on and we've made a significant amount of improvement from last year to this year in kickoff coverage. And the kickoff coverage was pretty good other than that play. And they brought the ball back to the field. So, that wasn't good. We didn't manage the, clock very well at the end of the first half and, missed a field goal. So that, really wasn't a real good thing either. What was the other thing that was so bad?
It's a 55-yard pass play on the first play they had.
Yeah, well, D. Milner made a mistake on that play. They, motioned over and, he had the tight end. His guy went in motion, so he had the tight end. And initially, I think he thought it was a running play because they faked the speed sweep to the guy and took his eyes off his man, and the guy got by him, and it was well-conceived play by them and well-executed, and we made a mental error on it, and it was a big play, so it wasn't very good. But, I thought after that the defense played, fairly well in the game.
Coach, over here, just wondering how long Robbie Zell's been lobbying to go in to play quarterback and how that decision went in.
Well, he didn't really lobby to do it. We just wanted to give him an opportunity to do it. He got an opportunity to play receiver. He's a guy that has been a spiritual leader on our team in a lot of ways. Players really like him. He goes on all the trips. We take him on all the trips. He's really an inspirational guy. One of those hustle guys, Charlie hustle guys that practice all the time, trying to do anything he can to help the team any way he can. So it was really more our idea to sort of reward him or reinforce all that he's done by, letting him play and do something that I'm sure he, enjoyed the opportunity to be able to do.
Coach, just wondered what you thought of AJ's decisions tonight after his spirited coaching from last week.
AJ, other than letting 20 seconds go off the clock, down by the goal line when we were no huddle, cost us a play or 2 in the red zone. But, those are all learning opportunities. And, hey, football is a tough game for tough people. It really is. And there's a lot of intensity, and there's a lot of intensity on the sidelines, and there's a lot of intensity in practice. It's the way it is. And I'm really not apologizing for anything I did, to be honest with you. AJ doesn't have a problem with it. Nobody else should have a problem with it. I've been getting patted on the ass since I was 9 years old playing pee-wee football. So, if you don't like that, I guess you should watch a Golf Channel. But that's what football is all about, really.
Nick, some people still seem to have a question whether Cam Newton will play next week. Does that affect your preparation at all, and would you like to see him out there?
Well, Cam Newton's a great player, and I think that if you're a great competitor, you like to compete against great players, and I've said it on numerous occasions that it would be bad for college football that such a great player who has an opportunity to to do some significant things individually and collectively for his team, not to be able to play. But At the same time, I don't know much about this situation and don't really spend much time on the situation, but I think we all have a responsibility and an obligation to do things the right way, institutionally and individually. But this is going to be a great game with two great teams, and he's one of the great players on the team, and I'm sure that our players will look forward to competing against a great competitor.
You guys had a lot of interceptions tonight. I'm just curious why you think the team has had so many interceptions this season.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question. Why do we have so many interceptions and so few fumble recoveries? Sometimes it's just the way it works. But, I do think that one of the critical factors that we look for in defensive backs is guys that have good ball judgment and good ball skills. And, oftentimes guys end up at defensive back because they don't have good ball skills or they don't have good ball judgment, so they can't play receiver or running back or whatever, so they end up being DBs. But that's one of the critical factors that we look for, because if you can't play the ball in the deep part of the field, you're going to give up plays. And all the guys that we have playing in the secondary right now have good ball judgment and good ball skills. And so that has to contribute to it to some degree. Sometimes you play with guys, they get their hands on the ball a lot, or they knock a lot of balls down, but they can't finish and make interceptions. And all the guys that we have playing in the secondary, have good ball skills. But all the guys that we had playing in the secondary last year had good ball skills. I don't even know how many interceptions we have this year, and I don't know how many we had last year. So I can't even make I sort of focus as a coach on the things you need to improve on, and just like the one bad play in the game today was a mental error that led to a big play. And one of the things that need to improve on is the mental errors that we made this year that lead to big plays. A 70-yard pass at LSU on several mental errors. I mean, things like that have been very costly, and it's great to make big plays, and turnovers is certainly a significant factor in outcomes of games, and we want to continue to ball hawk, and we're happy that our guys have gotten those interceptions, but we also need to eliminate the mental errors that give other teams big plays.